alas, the main straight. That is the parking garage. Way within there, you can kind of see it goes on forever. This is where the dude who waves the flag stands. This is where the lights would be. And over here, I would assume, because of the way that it's designed, is where the podium would be when the race is in progress, or rather after progress. Behind me, other than a car that's leaving, way down there is the other apex to the track. It's the one where, if you follow my finger, it kind of dips around, if I recall my track history correctly. It's been about a mile walk so far. And one more thing. I apologize if the wind is making this hard to hear. You may be wondering, why in the world am I visiting a Formula One Grand Prix track in the very, very off-season? It's not like they're going to be racing with studded tires anytime soon, although I hear that's been done once before as a demo. It seems to be a theme for me that I would visit the site of a major competition 6 months after it would have taken place. It's January now, toward the end of January, and the Grand Prix usually happens June, July, somewhere around there. And I probably spent as much money on this trip to Montreal for a few days as it would cost to buy one ticket for this Grand Prix. The other incident wherein I visited a Grand Prix, a sports site, was when I went to Lake Placid. It was after winter, early spring, everything was wet and moist, and the bobsled track was just basically concrete. That was when I was very, very young, and that's all. So it was important for me that I visited this track because I was such a huge fan of Formula One. And this is actually the site of one of my first favorite racers' first Grand Prix. I hope that made sense. Jean Alesi in 1995. I became an avid fan in 96, 97, but I started following him about that time. This was the site of his first victory. So it's important for me to visit this track because I'm here, firstly, and it seems to be kind of sort of open to the public. No one has stopped me yet. So that's enough rambling for me today. This is my last full day in Montreal. I'm going to be going back to New York tomorrow afternoon. Sad face, sad face. But that is all. Ciao. Hello, I'm recording on the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal in Canada. And right now I'm standing on the back straight of the island. Far behind me, car coming toward me, is one of the apexes of the track. Behind me where I was, here, let me get that better in picture. Hey, car coming. This snow-covered bank right here is actually where the Olympic rowing competitions were held in 1976. And back on the track, this corner here, going in, I'm not sure exactly which way it goes, if it's going through the farther end or not, was jokingly entitled the Wall of Champions, considering that a few years ago, during one particular race, 3 world champions, Jacques Villeneuve, Michael Schumacher, I think, and Damon Hill, crashed right along that wall. So that's where I'm standing right now. In the dead center of the island is the Canadian Pavilion from when they hosted the Expo, or at least I think that's the Canadian Pavilion. That or another building somewhere in this island served currently as a casino. So that's it. That's where I stand right now. I just wanted to post I was here. That's all. Yeah. this map, this is approximately where I walked. I'm currently reporting to you from around this area here. I can't tell you where, but I crossed this footbridge. The metro stops right there. Crossed the footbridge, and my first pictures were about here. Now this part of the track is completely blocked off, over snowed, so forth, but the access road is on, and there's another access road down here. But I walked along here, down the main straight, following the gray line, and I made some of my first video posts about my trip right here. Go further down, there's where I thought the Wall of Champions was. I'll have to double check. Then come around, that's the garage, pit straight, and here, coming all the way around. Now this turn is pretty cool. I just have to say this from the perspective of somebody who's here, maybe this perspective of a driver, that when you're coming up here, it's a very, very slight incline up the hill. And when you're around this area, you can see downtown Montreal in the distance, Mont Royal and the cross on top. Very, very beautiful sight. Coming around here, making the right. Now, this whole area, I'm not quite sure exactly what I walked. I can only tell you that this looks familiar. Coming up around the Pavilion du Canada, and when you're in this area looking out, you see the stadium where the Expo, not stadium, excuse me, the apartments where Expo 67 were displayed. In fact, this whole island is where Expo 67 was displayed. Came around here and all the way back. This doesn't seem too familiar. I'd have to double check that right turn. But that's it.